Hey guys, welcome back to part 2 of Blank Stare Retro Movie Reviews. We're still on Spider-Man, and now we're going to get into the story, since we kind of went over characters in part 1. So if you want to see our thoughts on characters in this movie and what we thought of them, check out our first part.
It's like 30-40 minutes. We love
of this. Enjoyment.
We love comics, we love these characters.
It's a nerd fest of Spider-Man.
But this time, the movie.
The movie. Even though we said that last time.
The movie itself, not the characters and not the comics. We'll probably interject some comics.
Most likely. Definitely count on that.
So
alright. So, back to the movie. Well, we did touch on the beginning of the movie, actually.
Let's go over it again, but this time not interject the characters. So, starts off, too long of a credit scene, and then we meet Peter, and we see high school life. Everybody looks too old to be a senior in high school.
Way too old to see.
They look like seniors in college. It is funny.
They do. And even the teacher looks like one of the students.
The teacher looks like he's younger than some of his students.
Yeah. Especially the best friend with the haircut from Resident Evil. What's his name? He's got the parted hair.
Are you talking about Flash's friend?
Yeah. He's got the same haircut. He's got it parted, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who?
You're saying he looks like Leon?
Yeah, he's got the Leon haircut. I'm not saying he looks like Leon, but he's got the Leon haircut. That's what I thought of when I saw him.
That's gross.
But, yeah, so...
Peter gets bit.
Peter gets bit, and then we see Peter go home. And the wrestling match. Let's talk about the wrestling match.
I want to say this real quick.
The Randy Savage.
They made a penis joke, and I laughed.
In what part?
Where Aunt May goes, Peter, are you alright? And Peter's like, yeah, just going through some changes.
No.
Any big changes? We don't see him lift his shorts, but he looks straight down at himself.
Oh, I thought he was looking at his buff body, man.
No, that's not what my mind.
Yeah, your mind's dirty, man.
Maybe my mind went somewhere else.
It went too far south.
But Peter now has the strength, the climbing, the webs, gross, of a spider.
Did not like that. I did not like that.
Which version of the comics has organic webs?
After this movie came out in the comics, he dies and comes resurrected back out of a cocoon from a spider with organic web shooters for a while.
Was this involved with the spider?
No, this is 616 Universe Spider-Man. And it's all because of this movie put the idea in people's heads that he should have organic web shooters. And I don't like that. I think I like the mechanical web shooters. I don't like the mechanical web shooters outside the costume, but I like mechanical web shooters.
Yeah.
And I got over it though. It did take me a while. I know people to this day think that he has organic web shooters or that he's supposed to. And it's like, no, man, you shouldn't. You shouldn't, and does not.
Then we see Peter start to discover his new powers. What I really liked is how they show off the spider sense.
That was visually incredible.
Visually incredible. Maybe simplistic CGI for its time, but it works. Peter feels the flapping of a fly's wing next to a ringing bell.
He has awareness of where everything is, and I also like the sound that when his spider sense triggers that the movie went with. Also, this is on Tom Holland's Spider-Man. I don't like how little they use spider sense because spider sense is probably his most important spider power, to be honest.
It makes him invincible as long as the writer wants him to be.
Yeah. Well, not only that, there's a while there where Spider-Man loses his spider sense, and he can't web sling because it's when he web slings, he's not looking at where he's going to go, but his spider sense just naturally tells him where to go, and he doesn't have to think about it or look where he's shooting because the spider sense gives him awareness of where to shoot, and it's such a big important part of the movie that I don't. That's my issue with them not using spider sense in the Tom Holland MCU.
You mean his Peter tingle?
Yeah, fuck. Also, I fucking hate that. Fucking hate that. But anyway,
so we get the fight with Flash with the spider senses showing off, and this gives Peter the idea. I could fight. I need money to impress MJ with a car, because Flash got a car and that impressed MJ. I need a car to impress MJ.
Yeah.
I could fight.
You know, I know you're younger than me, but at the time, everybody felt they needed a car to impress a girl. That was the thing. I don't know if young people feel that way nowadays. But back then, you had to have a car. You had to. It was a must.
I didn't have a car till I was 22, so I never cared.
No, I got a car at 19, but that is whatever. It is what it is. So I want to talk about that fight scene, the wrestling match.
Macho Man Randy Savage.
Macho Man.
Bonesaw is ready.
Oh, also, can we talk about what's his name? I'm sorry, this is sin. Budge, cheat sheet over here. Oh, dude,
What are you talking about?
He's in every
Are you talking about the announcer?
Yeah, the announcer.
What is him? Is that him? Ted Raimi as Hoffman?
No. Let me see. Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell, ring announcer.
Bruce Campbell, the ring announcer in this movie. I thought
he saved Peter's life with that name change.
He did save. Also, I love the way he introduced Spider-Man in this movie. It was the Amazing Spider-Man. And I thought that was great. I thought it was a great line delivery. I like his state, his presence on screen. Mm-hmm. It's very, very good. And he was supposed to be in the fourth one where he's going to play Mysterio. Which would have made sense. I heard about that. Which would have made sense because he's in all of them. He's such a showman. One
of the things that's definitely good about this movie is how, for one, by the end of it, it feels like it could be a standalone movie. At the same time, Sam Raimi and the writers are weaving in together. This is the Spider-Man universe.
Right.
Peter got fired from Connor's as Connor's assistant. Eddie Brock is mentioned in passing as just a character existing in this world. So the writers in Sam Raimi, they knew Spider-Man, and you could feel it.
Yeah, they could feel it, and
that would have been cool as Mysterio.
Yeah. He would have been great as Mysterio, I think. And
Bonesaw could have been Rhino.
Yeah. Oh, I never thought of that. Yeah, but anyways, we have this scene where the iconic Spider-Man moment where he gets ripped off by the guy with the money. That's such a raw deal, man. That wasn't even. You should take that guy to court, bro. Like, how are you going to do that? You gave me 2 minutes, and here's $100. The least he could do is give him 2 G's.
I mean, it's not like he read the contract he agreed to.
That is true.
He verbally agreed to that he doesn't get harmed, but that doesn't mean much.
Yeah. But that was pretty good, Peter.
Because of that, we see Peter, who has great power, not take on responsibility. Of course, being a theme of Spider-Man.
Right.
As the gunman steals the money and runs out, and Peter doesn't do anything to stop him. And Peter can break a man's bones like that.
And that's where the guy comes out, the guy who just got done ripping Spider-Man off, comes out and tells him, what's wrong with you? You could have taken that guy out in 2 seconds or something along those lines. And Spider-Man tells him, I missed the part where that's my problem. And that's a shot back at him for ripping him off. Mm. And that was pretty good. I like that. I like seeing that confident Peter because you don't get a confident Peter in this movie very much. So when you get a confident Peter, I enjoyed it. All right.
So Spider-Man then tries to figure out how his web shooters work.
Good scene.
His gross ass Swiss webs. That's not how spiders work. Why does he have 2 web sacks?
It's better than how spiders work, man.
Well, I mean, I don't want to see that.
Yeah, that's the.
But I like where he goes, "Go web, go, Shazam!" Like
also another DC character reference.
It's really funny when they reference DC, and then he starts figuring out his powers, and then he goes to the Macho Man Randy Savage fight, and
he's got that badass costume.
He's got that. So I like how it's just homemade. Out of all 3 Spider-Mans, I probably prefer Tom Holland's starter outfit.
Yes.
But at least he tried more than Andrew did.
Absolutely.
And then Uncle Ben dies. Very sad.
Yeah, that was that was another thing I liked. I liked how aggressively Peter went after the mugger. I
like how quick it was.
Yeah, it was right to it. Like he didn't hesitate. No morning time. Just
we'll get more into it with when we get around to Amazing Spider-Man
or Spider-Man 3.
No,
Spider-Man
3 as well.
Retcons this. Yeah.
But the Amazing Spider-Man, Andrew spends too long going after the killer.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true. But anyway,
he starts off being Spider-Man.
So here we see Spider-Man go after the mugger who killed his Uncle Ben, and it is some of the worst CGI you will see ever
in this movie.
In a movie in general, especially in a high budget movie. I never noticed for the time though, to be honest with you. I knew it was CGI. I could tell it was CGI.
But then we couldn't notice because it was the most revolutionary thing.
Yeah, this is bad. Now, like I said, I saw it in 4K. I know you didn't. I wonder if it looked worse than 4K.
Probably did because you have better detail. Mine was even a little bit pixel. I have an HD high definition range TV. It looks terrible on it because it's an old DVD.
Yeah, well here you can see it's a crystal clear CGI. It's a cartoon character, but I forgive it. It's a product of its time. It's 2002, and who else has done Spider-Man this well in live action? So
that's
got to start somewhere. Yeah, it's got to start somewhere. Also, I would argue this is the best Spider-Man web slinging in any movie.
Yeah, part of that, I don't know if they used it in this movie.
But in Spider-Man 2,
the cable camera.
No, they do use it in this movie.
It was in this movie?
It is in this movie.
So if you don't know, Sam Raimi came up, someone on his team, I don't know if it was him directly, came up with this cable camera rigging system. When we're swinging through New York City with Spider-Man in these movies, we are swinging. He's edited in, but they actually had a camera drop down on a cable and do these web swings from building to building. Amazing work.
Honestly, I'm interested to see what Tom Holland Spider-Man does because we have not seen him web sling from skyscrapers yet. So if it's worse than this, there's no excuse.
He spends most of his time in just suburbs.
Or on alien planets.
That's true.
That is true, yeah.
I don't think we've...
No, we haven't.
Well, we're going to see some crazy magic dimension shit in this one.
Yeah, but I want to see him web sling, man. Like, how are we 3 movies into Spider-Man and you haven't seen him web sling?
So, he's always in slow areas.
Yeah.
He catches up to the mugger after getting into the car chase scene, which inspires Spider-Man 2, the best Spider-Man game until the most recent 2 came out. And even then, the web sling is not that great. Spider-Man 2's car fight mechanic. Do you remember that in Spider-Man 2, the video game?
I beat the game.
Just beating up the car and dodging bullets.
Yeah.
Which then they reused for Spider-Man PS4. And then he grabs the mugger and scares the dude into falling to his death.
Yeah. He had to die because he figured out who Spider-Man is.
Yeah.
But I mean... He's Spider-Man. He could have caught the guy.
Well,
I think he was also in shock. Though.
There's shock.
He just figured out that the guy he let go killed his Uncle Ben. So he's realizing it's his fault, and I understand that.
This isn't like a character assassination against
Peter
Parker.
No.
Peter had little to do with the guy dying. It's just in the situation, it looks like to the police that he would have been the one who pushed him out, and he could have saved the dude, but again, he's in shock. He probably intended to kill the dude, though. He was in anger and grief.
Yeah.
When he was beating him up.
This is what I mean. This is what I'm trying to say. Had he not
as angry as
he had to die because he recognized Peter Parker. Okay,
from storytelling perspective,
for the purpose of this story. But I think it would have been better had he not realized. Had Spider-Man kept the ski mask on. Had he not realized that's Peter, Peter could have caught him.
Yeah.
It would have been
great power.
a character defining moment where he made a choice to save the guy who killed his Uncle Ben. And I think that would have worked better for this movie.
This doesn't take away from the movie at all, but that would have added to it.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like the scene. It's not as bad as when Batman let Ra's al Ghul die.
On purpose.
Completely. That was like, okay. So then
now he's Spider-Man.
That was took the words out of my mouth. Now he's Spider-Man, and it's the costume. What do you think about the costume?
The costume still looks great. Obviously, some CGI doesn't look that great. It was recently putting it out in quarter digital that Andrew Garfield, like Tobey Maguire's is very much skin. Like that's how they created it to look. It looks like it's just skin on him. While Andrew Garfield's ends up actually having loose fabric.
Yeah,
so you can see it tense and move.
Yeah.
So this isn't a bad attempt at the first time, and it still looks very good. The suit itself, iconic. The CGI, not so great. There's the one scene, which is the next big scene for the movie. The next big scene. The introduction of the Green Goblin as a villain to this world.
Are you talking about the parade?
The parade.
The parade. I like the parade. It's bad CGI. It's bad CGI. The pumpkin bombs make no sense because the pumpkin bombs evaporate 6 people, but then Peter Parker later on takes one to the face. Also, Peter Parker takes one to the face, and his mask gets torn up. But later on, Harry Osborne takes one to the face, and his face is fucked up.
Don't question what bombs do to people. Yeah. Batman has a bunch of stuff in his utility belt that he should not have in his belt. Peter at the parade, doing the Daily Bugle stuff. He doesn't think anything is going to happen. But then he feels his spider sense. Before Green Goblin's even on screen,
right.
He knows something is wrong.
He doesn't know where it's coming from, but he knows something is off.
Yeah.
And again, it's why I like the spider sense so much in these movies. They're crucial to the character of Spider-Man. To me, it's the equivalent of Batman being all gadgets, no martial arts.
Yeah. Without spider sense, Peter has no talent.
Exactly. He just has super strength.
He gains talent over the years, sure, but at the start he has no talent. Spider sense tell him how to dodge and when there's an opening.
Yeah, he's not faster than a bullet, but thanks to the spider sense he can dodge a bullet.
Yeah.
Because he knows
He knows when they're going to fire.
Yeah, he knows when So as far as that scene, I like it, even with the bad CGI. I like that he saves people. That's another thing I like in this movie, that he actually saves a little kid. He saves the 2 people from being crushed. We have a very lame Stanley cameo, where all he does is carry some people like, oh, look out. Oh, yeah. And that's it.
Stanley does not get a real cameo in this movie.
No, not really. No, you blink, you miss it.
Yeah, you blink, you miss it. I was even like, wait, was that his cameo?
Yeah.
I remember it being longer, because I remembered Spider-Man 2 and 3's cameos. Another thing is Harry and MJ are supposed to be seeing Norman. Norman obviously comes in as Green Goblin. And we get, unfortunately, what I was talking about with Mary Jane. They waste Mary Jane as a character. Not that all comics of Spider-Man really used MJ as a person and not just a love interest, but throughout all 3 Spider-Mans, MJ's failing as an actress and screaming.
Spider-Man actually... I'm sorry to cut you off if you're not done.
No, that's it. Like, I'm disappointed in that, because she's a good actress. She deserved to do more. MJ could have been a better character. I liked her struggle, but she just gets reduced to screaming.
Mary Jane originally...
3 times in this movie alone.
Yeah, Mary Jane originally in the comics was just kind of like a hot chick who likes to party. Yeah. But it wasn't until Gwen Stacy died that Mary Jane is the one who brings Peter out of his depression. And from then on out, she was a crucial character to Spider-Man. Also, another missed opportunity in this movie that really didn't bother me so much in the movie, but I had an issue with this. We didn't get the iconic knock at the door and face the tiger. You just hit the jackpot. And if you're going to introduce Mary Jane, I don't care. It's like Uncle Ben. You have to show Uncle Ben dying in a movie to feel the impact of Spider-Man, especially if you're going to do a retelling of the character. And for me, you gotta do the Mary Jane thing, man. It's so iconic. It's
Face the tiger.
Face the tiger, hit the jackpot. Everybody knows what that is. Like, or at least I think so, but I could be wrong.
You're definitely wrong, but I know.
How do people not know that?
Because people don't read comics. I think Mary
Jane.
I
hang out with people who read comics, so that's probably why.
I think MJ calls him Tiger once in this series of movies.
Does she call him Tiger? Oh, in the series, but not in the first one, does she?
No, not in the first one.
No, not in the first one. Damn,
MJ's not involved in the other ones, and she's a completely different person.
Mary Jane doesn't have the confidence that she has in the comics.
No. She has zero confidence. Peter gives her that confidence, which feels good for development, showing that, hey, Peter cares about her where no one else really does. Right. Even Harry just wants her to act good enough to impress his father.
Dad, yeah.
Peter's the only one that gives a shit.
Like I said,
about Pete.
Like I said, she is not a good girlfriend for Harry, man. She cheats on Harry. Which, talking about that scene, let's segue to what you wanted to say.
The next real MJ Peter scene with Spider-Man. MJ is going home. I believe she's going home from after
getting rejected from
she got rejected from a new casting.
Yeah.
She encounters Peter after being rejected from a casting for opera, who told her, go get acting lessons.
In which she kind of slightly hints at Peter flirting me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and she's dating Harry. So
it starts downpouring, and we get the iconic
nipples
under. Wasn't gonna mention it, but they didn't make her wear a bra.
No, she wasn't wearing a bra. It was just a very thin bra. I paid way too much attention to this. I did. But I love Mary Jane, man. No, I got a thing for Mary Jane.
We get the iconic kiss scene with him upside down. The problem with this scene for me. So, iconic scene, obviously. Mary Jane, unfortunately, has obvious intent, or else I wouldn't have it in a wardrobe malfunction. And And then we get the iconic scene. My problem with this scene is I like Spider-Man coming in, saving Mary Jane. He rushed to put on that costume because he knew something was going to happen. So he rushed to put on the costume. He hasn't even put on his mask yet.
Which I thought was stupid.
It was stupid.
How long does it take?
By the way, did you notice that for like the scene in the parade where he goes to rip open his shirt?
He's Superman?
Different line.
Oh, it is.
It has a different neckline because everywhere else where he's not wearing his mask, his neckline's right here.
Yeah.
I thought that was weird.
I give it a pass because it looked cool.
It looked cool, but I was like, that's weird. Spider-Man fights off about 5 or 6 dudes who are attempting to mug, and worse, Mary Jane.
The what?
I'm not going to... I don't want to say the word.
People aren't even going to know what you're trying to say. Well, maybe they will now.
Maybe we'll not. Well, you don't have enough viewers yet. The rape scene.
I don't.
You can't worry about getting demonetized.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that.
The vibe is very much they're about to rape Mary Jane. Peter fights them off, and then she's real excited, real happy. That is a traumatizing thing, and a lot of early 2000s did this. It's not too big of a deal, but it just feels off for me. That's why I had to mention it.
I get what you're saying, but nobody even remembers that scene. You just remember the kiss.
I remember the kiss. I didn't even remember her getting mugged.
I don't. I remember
the
nipples, the rain, and the kiss.
I was a child. I did not remember the nipples.
I was 13. And
I wasn't. I didn't know what nipples meant.
Oh well, man.
I was a kid. So, but we get that scene. That's my complaint. Just the quick switch from near rape to being happy making out with Spider-Man, which you have a problem with because she's at that point dating Harry.
Yeah, that's my biggest problem with this. Is that she's dating Harry, and she's still kind of. I mean, Norman was right. Norman was right, man. Norman hit it on the dot. Now, she's obviously not like that full time, but obviously she didn't really feel for Harry that way. It was kind of just a rebound because she got dumped right after high school graduation.
This was also just after she had told him that her and Harry were seeing each other. Something he didn't know because Harry, who was his roommate...
No, you're thinking of a different scene. No, because you're thinking of the scene outside the diner when it's like, hey, Watson, I'm talking to you. It's like your till was short, $6.25, and then she's like,
the scene
I'm talking about is the scene right before it rains, where she gets turned down from a casting scene, where Peter's like, I was in the neighborhood, took a couple buses to get here. That was another thing. I appreciated Peter being honest, how he specifically went to go look for Mary Jane and talk to Mary Jane, because otherwise it would have been creepy and kind of stalkerish.
It's kind of stalkerish.
No, but he admits it's like, I'm here to support you. That's what I'm here
to support you.
I'm not playing it off as in a city of however many million people I bumped into you.
Then we get one of the best scenes with showing off New York and even the police support Spider-Man as long as he's saving people.
Oh, we're jumping to the end.
Goblin. No, not that part. No. I'm talking about rescuing the baby in the fire.
Oh, yeah.
The next scene that comes after this is a Thanksgiving scene, which is the next one I want to talk
about.
Well,
we already talked about the Thanksgiving scene pretty much.
No, we didn't.
I
said we're going to talk about that later.
No, but I mentioned
we'll get around to it.
Norman's an asshole.
He is an asshole.
He was right. But yeah.
That's not really mentioned in the scene.
Yeah, it's not, but that stood out.
The important parts of the scene.
Okay, fine, continue.
So, Norman, for some reason, sets the building on fire and then decides to pretend to be an old lady. It's real campy, it's real stupid, it's real great.
You know, I never thought about who started the fire.
Obviously, it's him.
No, you're right. But, like, how did he know Spider-Man would show up?
Because Spider-Man's a hero. He knows that if he's going to go after a hero, which is funny because there's no real heroes in this universe yet, you got to put danger.
No, Spider-Man's been danger. But
Spider-Man's been doing shit for like 6 months at least.
This is my thing. What if Spider-Man's busy delivering pizzas? Oh, I already got... No, that's the second movie. What if Spider-Man's doing something? And so he doesn't show up the first time, so that building burns to the ground. Does he have to go find another building to burn?
That's the least worst part of that scene. It's just the fact that Norman decided to hide as an old lady.
I'm nitpicking, you're right. Yeah.
That is true.
Spider-Man! Yeah, that was, I don't know, I liked it. I thought it was funny. It was campy as hell, but it was funny. Also, the fight scene in there, though, the way it's choreographed, the way he dodges the, what are they called? The Goblin rings? Goblin boomerangs? The Goblin razors?
Whatever. The Goblin. What are they called? The batterings, goblin ring.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't matter. But that was pretty cool. I thought the slow motion action of him dodging it. Also, here's another thing I really enjoy about this movie is the way Spider-Man poses. The way it looks. There's so many shots in this movie where the camera just freezes on the superhero pose.
Yeah.
And it looks cool. It looks cool because the costume's cool, so...
And then, after getting cut, and the Green Goblin and Spider-Man just go in their separate ways after the fight. Thanksgiving time. Norman's late for Thanksgiving because...
the cheesy scene transition. The fire, remember? And then Norman in the elevator like...
Well, if you're going to talk about that transition, I forgot to mention it. The one where Norman blows up the military compound during the test, going to
it's the cheesy fireball, yeah.
The cheesy fireball going to hats down there.
Yeah.
I was like, that's a terrible transition. I don't like that.
Yeah.
But Thanksgiving...
But it's part of the movie, and as a whole, if you take the movie for the whole, I like it.
It's alright.
It adds to
works.
it. It adds to campiness.
Norman realizes at Thanksgiving that Peter's Spider-Man, because Peter's bleeding from the cut that he gave Spider-Man. And that's when Norman gets the idea.
Also, I
gotta go after his family.
Also, here's kind of what's weird, and I'm nitpicking right here, but so Green Goblin hears a blood drop on the floor.
Oh no, that was terrible.
Yeah.
Nothing about the serum ever said enhanced senses.
It's enhanced hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was stupid. Also, I thought the whole time, if you have enough time to jump up to the ceiling, why not jump out the window?
Yeah.
Because he jumped out the window, and the time it took Norman to turn around and start walking out the door, so he could have jumped out the window the first time. Now that's all nitpicking, and the movie's trying to build tension, and it works as far as tension's concerned. Yeah. It works.
What if he looks up?
Yeah, what if he looks up? You know, and also I do like that Norman's paying for the apartment.
Was he? Did he see?
Yeah,
I knew it was Harry. Money's coming from Harry's family. I knew that much.
Harry has money.
Peter can't afford that good of a place.
Yeah, and a lot of times you see whether it's a TV show or a movie, they live in the most beautiful apartments in the most expensive cities in the world. Like for example, Venom. The guy lost his job in San Francisco and has a huge apartment.
Spoilers for the start of Venom.
That movie's trash. Just so it's clear.
So, Green Goblin, Norman decides, I need to go after Spider-Man. I need to hit him where it hurts. I can't hit Spider-Man, because Spider-Man's just a mask.
Well,
I can hit Peter, though.
We can soften up Spider-Man.
Yeah.
His intentions is to soften up Peter Parker.
Distract him, really.
Well, I feel like he thinks if he could psychologically mess up Spider-Man, he could take him on in a fist fight.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of his plan. And it's pretty good executed wise.
It frightens Aunt May. Aunt May.
Well, we
talked about that scene. Aunt May just frightened, and then he kidnaps Mary Jane.
Right.
And we come to the finale
of this, the climax, the final showdown. Right there, on top of the Washington Bridge, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know New York.
I think it's the Washington Bridge. I know it's not the Brooklyn Bridge where Gwen Stacy got killed. I know that much, but Well, I personally like the whole scene. I do. Just specifically staying on the bridge before we get to the abandoned warehouse or wherever the hell it is. But I enjoyed the ultimatum that he gave Spider-Man. The kids or Mary Jane. And I like that he saved both of them. I thought that was pretty cool. I thought the whole scene where he catches the cable car and the web is coming undone was...
Tension.
It was
tension from the tension.
Yeah. Right. And I thought it was really good. I remember watching this as a kid, and I was like, oh man, how is he going to get out of this? Especially when the Green Goblin starts coming at him and landing these heavy blows right to Spider-Man square in the face.
He lets go for a split moment.
He does let go. Which, nitpicking, I was like, if you have time to let go, do a flip, catch the cable, why not just shoot another?
Yeah, I was thinking that too while I was watching. I was like, man, you got to shoot another web. You have enough time to go...
Yeah.
Like, it's coming out of you as you do it.
Yeah, but that's nitpicking. And I thought that was really good. The CGI, again, needed work. But, for the product of its time, it's fine.
Probably one of the best it could look.
Well, I noticed the CGI when Spider-Man in costume was a lot better than any other CGI for any other character. Even the Green Goblin in CGI, even in full costume, still looked a little out of place.
Yeah.
And Mary Jane falling down looked a little cheesy when she caught onto the cart. Yeah, it looked
same scream
It
again.
looked a little cheesy, but the tension was there, and I think Sam Raimi executed perfectly what he wanted to do, which is have you. I mean, you don't. If you're watching the movie, you kind of forget that Spider-Man's not going to let anybody die.
Yeah.
Because if you're watching this, you kind of think, especially because it's the bridge, and we know what happened at a bridge. We know Gwen Stacy died on the bridge. So
for a split moment there, you think Spider-Man's going to let kids die
to
save Mary Jane.
You do.
Because he doesn't rush for the kids. He rushes for Mary Jane.
He does. And man, Green Goblin, he's very, I think he's very well written.
He is well written.
He's one of the, also his dialogue is,
I mean, for a crazy man without
this,
much
the
motivation besides I'm stronger than everybody else, he's well written.
Which is his character trait. But the dialogue in this movie is very bad. Something we didn't talk about yet. But the dialogue is so cheesy in this movie, and I think the only
it's no George Lucas.
No, I think it's on par. I think it's on par. But here's what I'm trying to say.
If none of you know what I'm talking about, Harrison Ford literally wanted to tie George to a chair to read back to him his dialogue, because George, great visionary, bad at writing dialogue.
Yeah, well, Sam Raimi might be worse, in my opinion. Sam Raimi should have had Harrison Ford read over the dialogue in this movie.
Tie him up.
Because the only character I felt wasn't cheesy during this whole movie. The only character I thought was like, oh man, like, I like his lines. Oh, besides Bruce Campbell. Besides Bruce Campbell was great. And J.K. Simmons' dialogue was also great. So there's 3 characters in this movie that had a great dialogue.
What's the main one you were talking about? You still haven't named him. What is he? Who is he?
What?
You said Bruce Campbell and
J.K. Simmons and William Dafoe. Those 3 have great lines. They have the best lines in the movie.
William Dafoe's awkwardness of repeating what Peter said. That was great.
What part is that?
I'm talking about early in the beginning. I like how he repeats to Mary Jane what he heard, because he's an awkward person and his bright ideas.
Oh, you mean Peter?
And
Peter's
no.
Oh, what?
Well, when he repeats what Peter said about the science when they're at the facility.
Oh, you mean when Harry?
Yeah.
Yeah, when Harry. Yeah. That was.
Dafoe.
No, that wasn't William Dafoe who repeated Peter at the science fair.
William Dafoe plays Harry.
William Dafoe plays Norman. You're thinking, dude. Now you have me so distracted. You're thinking of James Franco, bro.
James Franco. They kind of look like
we just
father
completely
and son.
confused the audience right now. We just.
I confused myself.
Hey, we've been filming for a few hours now, trying to get this thing done right.
Interruptions.
Yeah.
What I liked about that.
But no, what I was saying about the dialogue real quick. So we got distracted, got sidetracked. Is everybody in this movie besides those 3 characters have horrible dialogue. Horrible dialogue. It's nothing but cringe. When Peter talks, it's cringe. When Aunt May talks, it's cringe. And Mary Jane is cringe. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Don't listen to this man.
It's comic book.
Uncle Ben is actually not cringe because he comes from the heart. He's basically the heart of this movie. And everybody else, man, I constantly cringe in this movie. Not that it breaks the movie for me. Like I said, I've come back around on it. But that's the horrible dialogue outside of 3 characters.
I disagree.
Agree or disagree?
Some of it was cringe, though. Some of it definitely was. It's early 2000s.
It is really 2000s, but man. Bringing it back to the bridge.
One thing I really love about the bridge scene and about what Sam Raimi does with these Spider-Man movies is New York's alive.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
We see Spider-Man interact in New York. I don't remember if we saw it that well in the Amazing Spider-Man. We definitely saw it with Tom Holland Spider-Man, who is very much the neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yeah, you're right. It's true.
Which is a strength to his character, is the neighborhood Spider-Man. Now, he should be the neighborhood of all of New York, but they just show off him just neighborhood. We see interviews with people, how they feel about Spider-Man, and then at the end, Spider-Man is being defended at their own risk by the people of New York. You have men in the ferry coming with the barge in order to try to catch the cable car, which is a huge risk to them, because what if the cable car is so heavy? What if it sinks their boat? What if Spider-Man drops it on them? You have the people on the bridge, on the rafters, throwing stuff at Green Goblin.
Very good aim,
who could come back around and blow them up. People have seen him blow people up. They have great aim.
He did have great aim.
New York's alive, and it's here to defend Spider-Man.
Yeah, and this also, I'm not sure I can't say this, but I remember when watching this in 2002, And this is only a year after, not even a year, a few months, like 6 months after September 11th. Or more than 6 months after September 11th. So seeing New York come together like that, it was big. It was something
probably
real.
One of the reasons why.
It was something real going on in New York, and it was a big part of. It's a big part of Spider-Man. It's what Spider-Man's character is. He's some people in New York love him, some people hate him, but everybody has an opinion on Spider-Man in New York City.
He's New York's hero.
Yeah, he really is. He's you think New York, you think Spider-Man. You don't think Iron Man.
No.
You don't think Captain America.
You think there's an Avengers Tower, but you don't think about them fighting for New York.
That's right.
Ironic, given the fact Avengers won.
New York is very much the way Gotham is to Batman and Metropolis is to Superman.
Yeah,
that's
Spider-Man's home.
New York is Spider-Man, and I love the way they show this in this movie. But then getting on to the final fight, the 1v1
fight,
the 1v1.
Sam Raimi goes, I need to brutalize Spider-Man. I need you make you think Spider-Man is on the losing side right now. Because he gets brutalized. He gets thrown into the building, blown up, his mask is shredded, his glass is blown out. He's lucky he has no eye damage. Yeah. And he's bloody, bleeding, and he's like doing what we see with Captain America just to stand up ready to fight, but he's losing.
Oh, yeah. He's done. And he even shoots web shooters trying to build the wall between him and the Green Goblin. And the Green Goblin walks through that like it's
tears it down. It makes sounds like it's steel wire.
No, it sounds like metal scraping on metal.
Yeah, which was really...
It was weird.
Sounding.
It was weird sounding. Oh, we're talking about sound. The sound effect for the webs coming out, very good.
I like it.
It sounds quick, sounds fast, sounds strong. I liked it. It was
sounds
really
like
good.
air compression, like they should have been.
It's like the web. And so that final fight, like classic villains, classic egotistical villains. What brings them down? Their own mouths.
He can't stop talking.
If he'd shut up for 2 more minutes.
The Green Goblin thinks that he is a new demigod, kind of. That's kind of his whole thing, is he thinks he's better than everybody else. Screw the company. Screw New York. Screw everybody. And if I can't convince Spider-Man to be on my side, I'm going to kill him.
Because he thinks Spider-Man's the only one, not on his level, but above everybody else, but just beneath him.
Above everybody else, just like him.
But just beneath him.
Yeah.
And like I said, man, had a Green Goblin just shut up.
He mentions that he's going to go back. He's going to kill MJ and he's going to kill Aunt May. And Peter loses it. It starts brutally beating down Green Goblin.
If his hair could have turned blonde, it would have turned blonde right there.
If he was a Saiyan.
If he was a Saiyan, he would have turned blonde right there.
He starts beating Green Goblin back hard enough to Green Goblin decides, I need to try going for empathy.
Yeah.
I need to be like, Peter, it's me. It's Norman.
You beat the Green Goblin out of me.
Harry's father. You beat him out of me. We're two split personalities in one body. Peter, you have to believe me. Save me. You're like my son.
And he was actually starting to get Peter's empathy, too.
Yeah, Peter's like...
But classic Norman, man. Just shut up. Shut up while you're ahead. He decides to tell Peter he views himself as a father figure to Peter.
Yeah. I'm like your father because Peter doesn't have a father. So I'm like your father, Peter.
And... wrong thing to say.
I had a father, and his name was Uncle Ben.
Right. And then we get the Godspeed Spider-Man.
Godspeed Spider-Man.
and then Green Goblin gets impaled in the dick.
It has to have cut his arteries in his thighs because how low it goes. Like
and his thighs, really?
When I first saw it, I thought it hit him right here.
No, it did not hit him
right there.
And
then I watched it again when I grew up, and then again now it hit him right.
In the crotch.
Right here.
No, not right there. Higher, man. You're being too kind. It hit him in the crotch. It hit him in the dick.
One of those blades had to have an essential artery because he dies from that. He definitely is mangled there because the spikes are right in the middle.
They're right there. And I wish, because if I don't know if you remember the image in the comic of how he's just hanging there, being pinned up by the glider. Yeah. He gets impelled by his glider, by the way. We're not very...
We've already said that.
No, we didn't say glider. We just said he gets impelled in the... Yeah, I got excited with the, but...
With the...
But I kind of wish they'd gone for that image. The image of him just hanging there, head down, instead of just coming down and...
collapsing.
Yeah, collapsing on the glider.
Don't tell Harry.
Don't tell Harry. Yeah, and then that's the whole slew of problems.
The last piece of empathy that he ever has is
for his
son finding out what happened
and what he's done. And
which creates problems for the next 2 movies.
yes, sir, it does. And so after that, this is something. Oh, here's another cringe moment. This is the very end. So we go to the funeral, and we're at Norman Osborn's funeral. And while after the funeral, Peter goes to look at visit Uncle Ben's grave, and grieve, and Mary Jane comes over to Peter to tell him, "Hey, I'm in love with you.
I'm in love. You're your best friend who just lost a father figure.
My ex-boyfriend.
My ex-boyfriend who just lost his literal dad, not his father figure, but his actual dad.
And while you're grieving over your uncle,
you're grieving your uncle at this funeral that just finished up. I love you, Peter. Let's make out.
And not only do I love you, but I thought I loved somebody else. But right, talking about Spider-Man,
you're the only person who believed it.
Yeah. I was thinking about Spider-Man before you, but after Flash. After your best friend Harry, after Spider-Man, you're up, buddy. You're next. And so anyway, but here's some of the...
Peter's bottom barrel.
And tell me that it was not one of the cringiest...
Oh, no. I was just like, this is not
cringy.
An appropriate time. Peter's obviously grieving. What I hate afterwards is Peter decides that they can only be friends.
But here's the thing I was going to tell you. When they're talking, Peter has this monologue to kind of bookend the whole opening monologue and bookend it with a closing monologue. And in the monologue, he says, "I wanted to tell her I love her. I wanted to tell her so bad," or something like that. And then he's like, and it was like such a weird. It was so weird. It's like he didn't have to put that in there. I felt because we understand he's not going to tell her. It was just the weird thing. It's just the dialogue in this movie. Again, I don't care for it. I don't like it. I think
the monologue cringy. Dialogue is horrible.
It is.
It also creates what the next next series tries to do, is the same thing, is having a funeral where Spider-Man rejects his love. Because then Amazing Spider-Man does that as well. Yeah, they do. But so that's pretty much the end of the movie, So
that is the end. So we have great action, hit and miss CGI. Oh, actually no, the end is him web slinging again.
Oh yeah, we get to see Spider-Man be ready to go off into New York.
Yeah, he does the flagpole scene, looks out at the Twin Towers, which the Twin Towers aren't there anymore at this point until 2, but it's a nod back to what happened in 2002, so that was pretty cool. And a lot of people don't know this, but it's on YouTube. You can actually find it. The original teaser trailer was Spider-Man webbed, like a spider web, like, the spiral one, between both Twin Towers, where a helicopter gets caught in it. Who just finished committing a robbery. Do you know that?
No, I didn't know that. They must have took that out.
They took that out. They took that out because September 11th happened shortly after, so they pulled that teaser trailer. But it's out there, and you can find it. And so that's pretty much the movie right there. And I've come around on it. I bashed it for years, as you know, because the dialogue's still crazy.
Anytime we mentioned Spider-Man back when we were working together, he had to mention Tobey Maguire's cry face.
But they all cry. Okay.
They all cry.
I'm going to get this out right now. I was going to say this for other videos, but I'm going to get this out right now because I can't keep it in. Stop making Spider-Man cry in every single movie. I am so tired of seeing a crybaby Spider-Man. I can't take it anymore.
He's human.
That's Tom. No. Like, stop making my hero cry all the time. It's hard to watch. There's moments where it's okay to cry. Gwen Stacy's death, okay, give you a pass. Uncle Ben's death, give you a pass. Tony Stark death, give you a pass. But my God, this guy, man, this is just nothing but tears. A girl dumps him, I'm gonna cry. It's too much. It's too much crying. It's too much self-doubt, self-loathing. It's just my rant right there. Like I can't. If I have to watch him cry one more time, me and another buddy were talking about all the movies he's cried in. And he's cried in the original, Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3, Andrew Garfield 1, Andrew Garfield 2. Civil War is very good Spider-Man. He's cried in his own movie. Did he cry in Spider-Man Far From Home? Yes, he did cry in Spider-Man Far From Home.
He was sad, but I don't remember him crying.
No, remember he was crying when, looking like you're about to cry is the same as crying. If you're over here looking like you're about to cry, I'm going to say you cried. When I tell the story to people, I'll tell them I was fucking crying. Like... It's just, I don't know. That's just my rant. Stop making Spider-Man a wuss. And, but overall, I really enjoy this movie. I'm going to get rid of my rating system, by the way. Just going to say that because it's kind of stupid.
Again?
Yeah, it's kind of stupid. I hate rating systems. Stop telling me to make, to my friends. Stop telling me to make a rating system. I'm not going to. If you can't figure out if I like the movie after watching a 10, 20, 30 hour long video, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. So anyway, Torrin, your thoughts, final thoughts.
Final thoughts. I still believe Tobey Maguire to be the best Spider-Man. Franchise, Spider-Man. Actually, I'm not bringing it out because that'd be pretty debatable. I still think his movies are the best out of all of them. We'll see if my opinion changes as we continue to review Spider-Man.
Right.
We will be reviewing 2 and 3 next. Hopefully before his newest movie comes out. If not, maybe it'll give us more retrospective about how the newest one ends, since our Green Goblin and our Octopus are entering that movie.
I think Sandman is too.
Sandman too? I don't know if it's the same one because I haven't seen his face, but he is in the movie.
Yeah, so we have Sandman. Is there any other characters in it?
Electro, but that's amazing.
No, right, but I'm talking about this universe. They have Doc Ock, Green Goblin, Sandman.
There's Green Goblins too. There's Doc Ock, there's Sandman, and there's Venom. Those are the villains.
You know what I just thought of right now is because in the trailer I think the lizard looks different. So what if it's...
Can we get a Spider-Man movie with Black Cat, please? I like Felicia Hardy.
Yeah. yeah. Anyway, so that's our video, guys.
I give Spider-Man 2002 2 web slingers out of organics.
The fuck makes sense about as much as anything else. So I'll take it.
Ratings don't make sense. Ratings are opinions, and I say 2 web slingers out of organics.
That's people are so confused right now. But anyway, so guys,
Cyborg changed position with Superman.
Oh, I forgot to mention see if you can spot the difference in the video. Anyway, all right, guys. So thanks for joining us on our blank stare movie reviews. Retro.
Every time I'm on here, it's going to be some old movie except for the new Spider-Man.
Right. And so again, Torrin, I have never said my name on YouTube, and I don't know. I'm thinking about just not doing it. Just keep it mystery, you know, something.
I'll call you Blank.
I like that. All right, guys. Thank you very much.